In this video, I'm going to walk you how to set up podcast scheduling so that it's really easy for you to get guests on your podcast. Make sure that you're totally in control of it and make it a piece of cake for you to get someone new on your show. You ready? Let's go. Here's a quick example. For my podcast, Transformative Principal, I send someone the link. Anytime someone wants to be on my show, I just send them the link and they find a time. They click the date they want to do it. They click the time. They fill in their information, they hit confirm, and that's it, piece of cake. I'll get into more details beyond that, but let's get going. One of the best things you can do to increase your downloads, your presence, and your reach of your podcast is to have guests on your show. Now, most of you do interview podcasts already, and so you know that that's the case. But if you're not doing that yet, this might be a beneficial strategy for you. And the easiest way to get guests on your show is to make it easy for them to get with you for your show. So I'm going to show you a couple of things that I do to help make that easier. First, I use a tool called cal.com to schedule things with people. And so here's the Transformative Principal one, for example. This is what the page looks like, and I'm just going to click the preview here so that you can see. I have this set up to automatically schedule me at specific times, and I'll talk about that more in a second when I go through the setup. But you can see on here that if somebody wants to interview with me, the next available time is January 8th, and it is at these times throughout the day. I have this set up intentionally so that I only record my podcast on Monday. And so somebody puts their information in here, they put their topic in here, and they put their phone number in here, and then they click confirm. They get an email invite. I get an email invite. If you're using Zoom to record, then it's already set up. If you're not using Zoom to record, this has something built in as well. Best part about this tool is that it's free. I'm not paying for anything in here yet, and it works really nicely. So once you come in, you do the event setup. So here's Transformative Principal, the description, the URL, cal.com/JethroJones/TP for Transformative Principal. And then I can set it so they can select the duration themselves. I don't do that. And then for the location, you can choose Cal Video, which is the default, or you can choose Zoom Video, or you can add in other things in here like Google Meet or FaceTime or Teams, whatever you want to use. There's a lot of different ones out here. If you do want to record in Cal Video, then it does require a team plan, so be aware of that. I would suggest that you could just use Zoom and be fine recording for most of your interviews. So you come in and you set this up. You come into availability and you choose what you want. Now over here on the left-hand side, there's a different availability, and that's where you set up these different ones. So working hours, podcasting, coaching, and then I have one for live podcast when I'm physically there that I update as I'm doing on location interviews. So you can create an availability thing here called podcasting, and mine is set up to be just Monday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can set this up to be whatever you want. You could do every day from 8 to 9 a.m. or every day from 3 to 4 p.m. However you want to set it up, you can create those. You can also make that your default one. You can see for mine that my default is working hours, which is Monday and Tuesday 9 to 4, Thursday 8:30 to 4, and Friday 9 to noon. That's because I don't want anybody to schedule meetings with me on Wednesdays or Friday afternoon. Who likes Friday afternoon meetings? Nobody does. So I cut that off at 12 p.m. All right, so let's go back to our event types, and we're just going to create a new one for sake of this. So we're going to say that this is the Build in Public Podcast Recording, and this is one of the shows that we do, and we're just going to call this BIP. And then I'll just put in some information in here. And then I like my interviews to schedule 55 minutes to 60 minutes. So we'll put 60 minutes right there. So now it's been created, and then we go through all the things. We're going to default it to Zoom video here to start. We're going to choose my availability, and this is a podcast, so I'm going to change it to my podcasting time. And then you can put in specific limits. So you can say before every meeting that somebody schedules, I want to have a 10-minute buffer, and I want to have a 10-minute buffer after the interview. I don't want to be noticed. I don't want anybody to schedule within 2 hours. And so I actually like to make this within 1 day. So if it's already that day, I don't want people to schedule on Monday morning and get in there. You can limit how many times it can be booked. You can say, I just want to do 1 podcast per day, or you could say per month, per week, per year, however you want to define that. The reason why that is good is that if you want to do just 1 podcast interview per week and you don't want to have more than 1 per week or per day, then you can limit how many you get. That may mean that you don't have any interviews for 6 months because you've got 6 months of people already booked. The other thing that you can do is you can limit booking only to the first slot, which means if somebody's not available first thing in the morning for you at the first available time, it doesn't show anything else. Limit the total amount of time this can be booked. This is a little bit different than the booking frequency. This is the amount of time. If you allow somebody to choose the amount of time they want to spend with you, this will limit it to how many minutes per day. So let's say you were doing a 15-minute show and you wanted to spend at most 60 minutes per day, then you could put that limit in there. We'll turn both those off for now. And then you can also offset start times so that they are shown a certain number of minutes. So let's say you want to set it off by 5 minutes, it'll start at 9:05 instead of 9 a.m. That one we'll just turn off. When you come into the advanced tab, it'll say this is what this is called. And you'll notice here that there's a little curly brackets around the scheduler, and you can leave this as the default or you can change it to be something else. So we'll do scheduler bit podcast, and then that's what it'll show up like on the calendar. You can change the layout for what it looks like. I've already set mine up to be a specific one, which is this here. This is how I want it to show up. So that's how it shows up for everybody. But there are different views that you can use. And then there are different booking questions. So you can customize the questions that you want to ask. And so, for example, you saw on mine here, when somebody does choose a time, then it asks for their phone number down here. And so I can add that here. And so we'll choose from this list. Getting people's phone number is really important so that you can call them if they don't show up. So I'm going to click here, phone number, and then you can choose whether or not it's required, and then you click add, and there it is right there. You can add other things. You can add different questions that you might want to ask. You can add different things that they may need to fill out. For example, I'm going to do a select. I'm going to say years in. You'll notice that it's putting in dashes for spaces here. How long has your business been in existence? Now we don't have a placeholder, so we'll say less than 1 year, 2 to 5 years. So we'll change that to 1 to 5 years. And then we'll add another option and we'll say 5+ years. Okay. So now when somebody comes on this show, they're going to have to answer this question right here. So let's just preview that real quick and see what it looks like. How long has your business been in existence? They can select that. They can do their phone number there, and you can say additional notes. All right, so that is what the advanced tab looks like. You can require confirmation that you have to approve it before it works, which is cool. You could make sure that you verify their email first. You could hide notes in the calendar if you want. You can redirect on booking. This is a good thing to do if you have a document that you use to prep for podcasts that you're doing. You can put that document in here. And so that could be like a Google Doc or something else. And that would allow you to say after they book, then take them to this page that gives them the next steps. I'd recommend you create something like that. The way that I personally have that set up is I use Zapier, and it creates a file in Google Drive, and it sends them that file in this email down here. That's a little bit more advanced, and you can see from this, I've got a few podcasts and it does all that kind of stuff. So for you, I'd say create a Google Doc that says, here are the next steps now that you're booked. And you could have forms that they fill out. You could have additional Google Docs that they use and give them more information, whatever. Make it simple, make it easy for you to use. And then you can also lock the time zone on the booking page if you're doing in person. When I do my live podcast, that's what I do so that somebody's not scheduling in a different time zone. And then finally, this offer seats. This allows you to offer additional seats so that you can say, we can have up to 5 people on this podcast at once. And that would be something that you could do there as well. All right. So then you can set up, if it's a recurring events, I would just bypass that because that's not what you're doing. You can integrate whatever apps they have integrated here. So there's a bunch of different things that you can do that you can play around with and see what works for you. And then there's this workflows that is in there. And for this, we're going to come over here to the workflows over on the left-hand side. And this is real simple. We're just going to check out what it says. Here we go. We start with the trigger before the event starts. How long before 24 hours, what action do you want to have performed? Send email to the attendees. Sender's name is Jethro's calendar. The reminder is a template that you can use. You can create different templates. And then this will just say, hey, here's the information about our event, everything that you need to know. And you can also include the calendar event. And then you just click save up there. And this one will work for anything that you're doing. So this email reminder, I should rename this to be, this is really the only thing I use this for. Everything else is just done in calendar invites. But I want to make sure they see 24 hours before that we're bringing this, that we're doing this. So there's that. And then webhooks is an advanced thing. You can see here, this is currently turned off. So I can turn it on and now that will show up there. And you can create a whole bunch of different templates and workflows that exist. You can send reminders an hour beforehand, 5 minutes beforehand, whatever you want to do. Finally, webhooks is advanced. And if you want more information on that, we can chat, but that is advanced stuff you don't need to worry about. And then all you do is you copy the link to event up here after you hit save, and you give people that link. And so for mine, it is jethrocal.com/JethroJones/BIP, which we set up in the beginning. And then now, before these were available on Tuesday and Thursday, now they're only available on Mondays. So you can see I don't have any availability for a podcast interview on the 15th and 22nd of January already. And so people have to book pretty far out. Under availability, you can also add in this override where you can say, hey, on these dates, I am mark unavailable. You can just do that. Now, here's the other thing that you can do is you can go into your calendar and you can just set your calendar like I did here. I just made an event that is called Busy All Day, and I just marked it show as busy, which means that it's not going to allow anybody to book anything with me during this week that I'm going to be unavailable. And so make sure that you remember that. Here's the important thing. When you are busy, then you can put that time in your calendar. So let's go a couple of weeks out to the 8th. There is some stuff that is available on that day. Let's say I want to I put some sort of event on my calendar at this time. Once I do this, we'll just call it test. When I come back over here to my podcast and I look in January and I refresh this, you can see that now January 8th, 12 p.m. is the first available time. By setting that up, whenever you put something on your calendar, it's going to block off everything else. And that makes it really simple for you to block your calendar off and make things not available. Now, connecting calendars. Let's talk about that real quick. Okay, so go to settings. So come in here to settings and then calendars, and then you can select which calendar your events get added to. And you can check other calendars for conflicts. I have a family calendar. I don't check that for conflicts because when something is a conflict, I put it on my other calendars, but that's for everybody to put something on. I check my Jethro Paperless Principal calendar, my Jethro Transformative calendar, and my jethro.jones@gmail.com. Different things get added to those calendars at different times. Pretty much they all get added to jethro.transformativeprinciple.com, but you can have a whole bunch of different calendars that you can check for conflict. If you have a day job and you can't be interfering with that, you can add your day job calendar on here and make sure that that doesn't happen. That's basically how this all works. If you have questions or need help setting it up further, please let me know and I'd be happy to help you out.